going on, guys? Dylan Conrad, Coach Con Diesel. Today I'm going to talk to you guys about the ketogenic diet, why it works, how it works, all that stuff. Before I get into that, follow me on social media at Coach_Con Diesel. If you're watching this on YouTube, like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications on. It all helps the algorithm. So, am I changing my tone? Do I believe in ketogenic diets? We all have a friend or a family member that has done the ketogenic diet and seen amazing results, lost a ton of weight, lost a ton of body fat. And so I'm gonna go through why it does work, because yeah, it does work for a lot of people, how it works, and how to implement this on your own. Let me cover first what the ketogenic diet is. The ketogenic diet is a low carb diet. About 5 to 10% of your total calories are coming from carbohydrates. Sometimes it's between 15 to 30 grams per carbohydrate. It just depends what that specific person needs to get their body into ketosis. What is ketosis? Ketosis is basically the state in which your body goes into when you're eating very low carbs, that your body has to search for energy from fat instead of getting it from predominantly from carbohydrates, which is normally, which in non-ketogenic adapted people, we get the majority of our energy from carbohydrates. So the byproduct of processing these fats for energy sources are called ketones. Now, let me just dispel one myth, because this is a very common misconception. A lot of people that are pro keto and keto zealots really talk about the fact that you're metabolizing fat to use energy. So a lot of people say that, oh, since you're metabolizing fat, that means your body's fat too. It doesn't. It's just your dietary fat. So the fat that you're consuming, that's what gets metabolized and used as energy, not your body's fat. Okay, so that's the first myth. I just wanted to dispel that real quick. Why does the ketogenic diet work so well in some people? So first of all, I want to cover insulin sensitivity and resistance. So when your body is insulin sensitive, you have a lot easier and more effective time building muscle and losing body fat. If you're below 15% body fat, you're probably already insulin sensitive. If you're below 15% body fat as a man, below 20% body fat as a woman, you're probably pretty insulin sensitive already. If you weightlift, you eat a healthy diet, you sleep enough, you're probably pretty insulin sensitive, right? If you are anything above that, and as you go up in body fat and weight, your insulin resistance is going to increase, and that decreases your body's ability to burn fat and build muscle. What the effects are on the ketogenic diet in terms of making you more insulin sensitive, it's gonna be different for each person based on what your body fat percentage already is. And that's why you see so many people in the obese and morbidly obese sector see amazing results. The other reason you see amazing results is because it flushes all the water and inflammation out of your body. So water, when you are consuming carbohydrates, it drags water into the cells, which makes you retain more water. So when you do the opposite, don't eat any carbohydrates, you're going to be pretty water depleted. And when you deplete water out of your system, you look a lot leaner. You actually lose that water weight. Some people lose up to like 5 pounds of it. And you look shriveled up like a raisin, which is a good thing because your skin looks really tight on the muscles, and it gets you it makes you look a lot leaner. The other thing is inflammation. So inflammation in your body, it makes you look puffier, right? You look swollen up, your cells are inflamed, so you look puffier, so you don't look as lean. The other thing is a very low inflammatory diet is going to help your metabolic processes work a lot more efficiently, so you are going to increase that metabolism and just work a lot better to decrease the body fat. So inflammation and water are number 2. Number 3, the reason it works so well is because it inadvertently follows the calories in, calories out model. So you guys know a big proponent of the calories in, calories out model. That's the most research in terms of fat loss. You need to be in what's called a caloric deficit to lose body fat, which is that your body is burning off more calories than it's consuming. And so when you're in this negative energy balance or calorie deficit, how ketogenic diets work, it's inadvertently putting you in a calorie deficit. Now you'll see a lot of people that do keto and they actually gain weight is because it doesn't put them in a calorie deficit. How keto inadvertently puts you in a calorie deficit is when you limit macronutrients, right? When you limit the amount of carbohydrates, you're also going to eliminate the type of food and the amount of food that you're eating, because there's a whole section of foods that are just cut out. So you can't have sugar, you can't have a bread, you can't have like a bunch of different foods that you would normally eat. So say you eat the same thing, right? You eat X, Y, and Z. and you took Z out, you're only gonna have X and Y, and that's the parts that are going to be making up your diet, which is going to be less overall calories. So some people actually go on ketogenic diets, they don't lose body fat or weight because they will not decrease their calories. They'll actually, the foods that they can eat, they'll just eat more of them. But someone who's the fourth reason it works so well is because you're eating so much protein. I covered this a couple weeks ago, maybe a month ago, about eating more protein increases the thermic effect of feeding. And I basically said it's BS. But when you're increasing the protein by 20-40%, because if you're eating 5 to 10% carbohydrates, the rest of it's gonna come maybe 50% from fats. The rest of that 40% is gonna come from protein. And average American probably gets about 10-15% of their overall calories from protein. Increasing that is going to be lead to a significant increase in the thermic effect of feeding, so much that it's going to help you burn a couple hundred extra calories by eating that much more protein. Should you do keto? Let me first say that I don't do keto. I don't prescribe it to any of my clients. That's not saying that I won't do keto and that I won't prescribe it to any of my clients. It just means that you follow the CECO model. It works really, really well. It's very flexible, so clients can use it for a long period of time, but I'm not anti-keto. I am going to tell you that there are certain ways that you want to use the ketogenic diet so you can actually make sure that you do see results, because you're kind of just throwing, if you just hop on a ketogenic diet and just go low carb, you're kind of just like crossing your fingers because you don't have any data, you don't have any daily monitoring, you're really not sure exactly how to, if you do hit a plateau and you don't see weight loss, what exactly to do. And understanding why you're seeing the results in the first place is super important to making sure that you're actually losing the body fat on the ketogenic diet. So number one is use data. Make sure that you're weighing your food out, you're putting in the food logging app, you're getting all the data for the food going in your body. This will allow you to make sure that you're staying within your calorie deficit. It's also gonna make sure that you're staying within that 5 to 10% of total calories coming from carbohydrates. Number two, just like I just mentioned, is you combine the ketogenic diet with the calories in, calories out model. That all only means that you need to find whatever your resting metabolic rate is. Say your resting metabolic rate is 2,400 calories. Take it 200 calories to 400 calories below that, and then you can go low carb from there. Now, I will say the first couple days of going low carb, they call it the keto flu. You just feel really tired, you feel really groggy, but after that, you start to feel a lot better as your body gets adapted. Don't go too low in calories. If you're feeling extra tired, because if you go too low in calories, your body's gonna be naturally tired because it doesn't have as much energy, and then you're getting the keto flu, it's gonna make you even more tired. So you don't wanna double end it. I would start with a 1 to 200 calorie deficit and start there. The third thing is use MyFitnessPal or a food logging app and set your macro targets. So what I mean by that is you're basically setting up the grams of protein, carbs, and fats you're gonna eat for that day and hitting those markers every single day. And so, you're eating 5 to 10% of your calories from carb. Let's say we do 10% carbohydrates, we do a 50% fat, and we do a 40% protein. Now we need to understand how many grams are going to need to come from each, and that's going to depend on your overall calories. So if you're eating 2,400 calories, you need to calculate basically how many grams that is for each percentage. And MyFitnessPal does a great job. You can actually just log in there, you can put your percentages in there, and it will give you the grams. So once you set your macro targets, what I do recommend you do for the first couple of days, maybe in the first couple of weeks, is pre-log your food. I still use it to this day throughout my cutting phases. And basically what pre-logging your food is, you're going to put what you're going to eat that day in MyFitnessPal or another food logging app. And you're gonna make sure that it hits your protein, carb, and fat targets for that day. And that allows you to, a lot of times people get into their third meal a day and they're like, oh crap, I'm at 50 grams of carbohydrates, which they would have known if they had logged their food ahead of time and adjusted as they realized that they were going out of their macro targets. So pre-log your food, hit that food that you're gonna eat. Make sure that when you pre-log your food, you just log your food ahead of time to make sure that it hits all your bases, that you are actually hitting that and eating those types of foods throughout the day, and so it keeps you in ketosis. So I will say one thing about ketosis. It is very easy to get out of ketosis and is really hard to get back into ketosis. So if you go over your carbohydrates and you just lose it, it might take as long as 14 days to get back into it. So make sure that you are sticking, and this is a diet model that you can adhere to, because people will mess up on this and not see fat loss because they are not adhering to the protocol. And basically how you adhere to the protocol, that's all habits and behaviors and between the ears. And that's really what we work on with our coaching program. So that's what keto is. This is how to implement it into your own diet model and why it works. Hope you like this video. Signing off, Dylan Conrad, Coach Con Diesel. Enjoy the rest of your day.